Cruella came out in 2021. It's Disney's latest live-action remake of an established classic.
I'm Cruella.
Now, Disney doesn't have the best reputation with these live-action movies, and to be honest, I was not excited for this at all. I just hate these new Disney live-action remakes. This era in Disney, it really sucks. I think it started with The Jungle Book, and honestly, I actually liked that movie. The special effects were really good, and they changed enough of the story so it felt like something brand new, but they kept enough of the original so it still felt like Jungle Book. Now, if Disney stayed the course with this recipe, where they used the original as inspiration rather than just the script, this whole new live-action era would probably be pretty good. But they didn't. They took the lazy way out and they just completely pummeled us over the years with so many live-action movies that never even tried to change anything to the original story. I mean, how boring is that, to sit through a movie that you've already seen and to see it in a way that will never be as good as the original? I mean, this is Disney we're talking about here. We all grew up on these movies, and I'm sure we can all recite our favorite ones from beginning to end. Aladdin, for example. It isn't just one of my favorite Disney movies, it's one of my favorite movies. So the remake was especially painful to sit through. Every copy-pasted scene with its copy-pasted dialogue and copy-pasted jokes, it was awful. It took me 2 sittings to get through it. Well, Cruella isn't just a retelling of 101 Dalmatians. It's actually the origin story of Cruella de Vil. So I was a little more interested than I typically would be for a Disney remake. And also, to be honest, I just got back last week from a trip to Disneyland, so I was in the mood for a Disney movie. So Cruella stars Emma Stone as Estella. She lost her mother at a young age and was forced to live on the streets where she befriended Horace and Jasper. Years later, she ends up landing a job as a fashion designer where she works under the fashion genius Baroness Van Helman, played by Emma Thompson. And isn't that weird? Having your 2 main leads being named Emma? I wonder if that caused any confusion.
Hello, Charlene.
I'm Marlene.
Hello, Marlene.
I'm Charlene.
Chew your gum.
So the Baroness is so evil and cruel to Estella that she actually adopts an alter ego, Cruella de Vil. And that's basically the short version of the movie. We see the transformation from the sweet and kind Estella to the evil and mean Cruella. It isn't a perfect movie, it has its problems, and we'll get to those. But for now, let's just talk about what worked. Both of the Emmas did a great job. Their performances were so fantastic, and I especially loved the scenes that they shared together.
What was your name? Cruella.
Emma Stone had a fantastic monologue. It went on for a long time, and I was really impressed how well she pulled it off. This movie also has a lot of movie types. On the one hand, it's a tragedy. There's a revenge story in there too. There's also several scenes where Estella works with Horace and Jasper to break into high-tech places. I was like, is this a heist movie? So there's a lot of different things going on throughout the entire movie, which really helps to make the 2-hour runtime not seem so bad. The movie also looks good. The sets, the costumes, the special effects, they all look amazing. Even the camera work is really stylish. And I guess this is to be expected. After all, this is Disney we're talking about, which means they had an enormous budget. I mean, the soundtrack alone must have cost them a fortune. I mean, they had songs from The Doors, Nina Simone, Tina Turner, Deep Purple, Queen, David Bowie, and not just one, but 2 from the Rolling Stones. And let me tell you, they used the music for a lot more than just the background. Songs were blaring through establishing shots and montages, and you could tell they were so eager to use as much of the song as possible because a lot of these scenes went on for a really long time. But I can't really blame them. If I could afford the rights to a Rolling Stones song, I would have probably never got to the movie. It would have just been the song playing over and over again on a loop.
Second verse, same as the first. I am really I am. I got married to the widow next door.
What really bothered me about this movie was Estella's transformation to Cruella. It just seemed so unearned. Estella's character was so nice and sweet. Even after her transformation, I just could not see her as someone who would actually go through with killing dogs just to use them as a fur coat. But you know who I could see doing this? The Baroness. I was convinced it was the Baroness who would turn out to be Cruella. Even after Estella changed her name and colored her hair, I was still waiting for the Baroness to, like, maybe kidnap her and take her persona. Because the whole dynamic of their relationship is Estella is the young fashion designer who's also a genius, and everything she creates is so incredible, and the Baroness is actually threatened by her skills. So it made sense to me that the Baroness would try to take out her competition and then maybe take on the Cruella persona. That would have been a great twist. Actually, maybe that wouldn't have been a very good twist, because that plot actually made sense to me, as opposed to what we got, which was that a sweet and kind person can suddenly become evil and mean because she had a lousy job. What? Let's point out that when Estella was a little girl, her mother was killed right in front of her. She grew up on her own, homeless, on the streets. She had to steal from people to get by, and this went on for years. Now, that situation didn't seem to make her turn evil, but having a job with a lousy boss for a few months, that was the final straw? Now, to explain this transition, they threw in another twist, which I'm not saying here because spoilers, but what I can say is I'm not convinced by the reason they gave. I just wish the Baroness would have taken on the Cruella identity. She was the one who was more convincing as someone who can actually kill dogs just to turn them into a coat. I'm sorry, Emma, but Emma did a much better job at being Cruella than you.
I'm Cruella.
Thanks for watching, everyone. My name's Kenny, and until next time, let's not just watch movies. Let's talk about them too. Cruella de Vil. Cruella de Vil.